welcome back to my channel. My name is Ariana, but you can call me Ari. And today we are going to be doing 24 new releases by Black authors in 2024. We've got some historical fiction, we've got some memoirs, we've got some horror, some anthologies, some of everything, honey. We got some romance. I know. There's romance. There's one romance here. We've got a little bit of YA contemporary. So let's just do this. Let's get started. And we're going to start with number 1. And it is, I have my handy dandy notebook of all 24 books I've researched. So, okay, we really put some thought into this, y'all. The first one is A Few Rules for Predicting the Future by Octavia Butler. Now, this isn't necessarily a new release in the fact that the writing that you'll see or read is new, but it was published as an article in the year 2000 and it is now being made into a actual book, which I think is going to have some graphics and it's going to feel a lot like a coffee table type read. So it breaks down her essay into 4 parts. She breaks it down into 4 different rules. And essentially she tells us that in order to format our present, our future, we have to look towards the past. So if you know anything about her writing, she does a lot of that, using the past as a way to look at our future. And there's a lot of truth in it. And so I think this is a good read for someone who has already read Octavia Butler. And I'll tell you why. From what I can glean from this, it's going to be very surfaced. If you haven't read her, like I said, please do. And if you have, I think you should get this because you might like looking at it, and I know I will. I'm excited about it. Okay. So number 2. We have Womb City by Tolu Tamase. And this takes place in a dystopian future in Botswana, where women are controlled by their husbands via microchip. So our main character, I think it's Nella, becomes the suspect of a hit and run after she has a long turned up night partying with her side piece, with her side thing, Janeth. And her and Janeth have to hide the body, hide the victim, and when they do, it's not over. The spirit, the ghost of this victim comes back and essentially haunts her, and she must do things that the spirit is asking her to do in order to be freed of it. It turns her into a monster. All the things it asks her to do questions or puts in question her morality and how far she's willing to go to protect herself in this society that already ain't protecting her. So that's gonna be cool. That's gonna be real cool. The third one of Us Knows by Alyssa Cole. And she also wrote When No One Is Watching, if you've read that. So we follow a woman named Kenitra. I think it's Kenitra. Kenitra? I'm saying it like she's here. She has a dissociative identity disorder, and she was in a career of historical preservationism. I believe she was laid off, lost the job somehow, may have been related to her disability. And then though, lo and behold, she's offered the opportunity to be a caretaker of a historic home out on this island. Already a red flag, girl. Don't be going out on no islands by yourself to some old creaky crackety home. So throughout her visit, she's visited by different people is what I'm getting from this. But there's one that stands out that is important. And it is the house's conservationist and conservation trust. And overnight at one point they become trapped because there's a storm that sweeps this island and everybody inside is stuck inside. And this conservation trust guy ends up dead. And everybody's looking at her. For whatever reason, they're like, you're the problem. You're the one that has the altars. So you are obviously the issue here. So she goes and is like trying to clear her name, and in doing so uncovers some nasty dark secrets about the island and about herself and about the people around her. And it's just an all around spooky, mystery, stormy, kind of cozy up in your bed and read it while it's raining type vibe. So I'm definitely here for that. Number 4 is Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Farida Abike Ayimide. Farida Abike Ayimide. Where Sleeping Girls Lie. Nailed it. It is the only YA on my list. It is a YA mystery novel. And she also wrote The Ace of Spades, which is, I know, a popular YA book. I have not read it, but I have seen a bunch of it around the release. And it's a boarding school mystery type situation. We have our girl Sade. She is going into her 3rd year at this boarding school. And she, the first night, is rooming with her friend Elizabeth, who ends up disappearing on the very first night. Girl, where you going? And so everybody thinks it's her fault. They're like, it's you, because that's your roommate, so how you don't know where she at? And so they're like speculating, and she's like, nah. And then she gets her other friend, her other very, very close friend, to help her find the truth, to clear her name, and to essentially be like, listen, it wasn't me. And so, yeah, they go through all kinds of chaos, and they're still in school. So there's stress of school and learning, and your friend's missing, and everybody thinks it's you. And like, so it's a very interesting kind of, it's a lot going on for someone in high school, but that's the deal. That's going to be interesting. Love a mystery, love a whodunit type story. Yes. Okay, so this one's a little bit more like existential, a little bit more like out there, a little bit more sciencey, and it's called Here in the Middle of Nowhere by Anastasia Renee. And on Goodreads, it says something like, what if God was a Black woman? What if we lived in millions of different dimensions and millions of different realities were happening at the same time? What if within these realities we shared with zombies and monsters, and we mixed and mingled with as everyday people, but with these types of other elements? And it says it includes themes of community, spirituality, and interstellar ancestry. I don't know. It's a very open idea, concept that I'm totally here for. The cover is stunning, so I'm excited about reading more about this when it comes out. I have stopped counting. Darn it. Okay, we're on number 6. We have to be on number 6. There's no other choice. Number 6 is called Shook, a Black Horror Anthology by the following people: Bradley Golden, Marcus Roberts, John Jennings, and I think illustrated by Roberto Castro and illustrated by Alicio Nasarino. And it essentially says it features award-winning Black writers and their horror stories with great inspiration from Southern Gothic horror. And the cover is sick. I wrote that in all caps. That cover is dope, y'all. Like, if anything, is dope. Number 7, Watch Where They Hide by Tamron Hall. I read the first book of this sequel. It was called As the Wicked Watch. And it was a murder mystery about a girl who had gone missing in a small Black community, and the police were doing nothing about it. They were very uninterested, and the media was exploiting it all to hell. This second book is going to be a similar kind of idea. Someone goes missing. The main girl, Jordan Manning, who is a news reporter turned investigator, is the one they call on to solve this mystery because the police ain't gonna do it. So yeah, I'm excited about this only because I read the first one and really enjoyed it. So I have great expectations for this one. And like I said, I love me a little thriller mystery type situation. So that's going to be really fun. So this next story is called The House of Plain Truth by Donna Hemmons. And we follow Pearlin, who lives in Brooklyn with her daughter and grandchildren, where she finds out her father is dying back in her hometown in Jamaica. She gets a call, she flies out, she's like, I gotta go see my daddy. And he tells her that on his deathbed, he wants her to do one thing. He has one wish. And that is that she locates her siblings and finds out the family secret that pulled the family apart. Now, she hasn't seen these siblings in 60 years. It's been 60 years since she's seen them, so she's got some work to do. Okay, number 9 is The Lagos Wife by Vanessa Walters. So, also an amazing cover. These covers are really kind of like, they kind of going crazy. Nicole, we follow Nicole, who is a wealthy woman living in the heart of Lagos with fabulous friends. When one day she takes a trip to London and she takes a boat trip and she ends up going missing. And her auntie finds out and she's like, oh no, what's going on? And so she ventures to Nigeria to find out the truth. And in doing that, she finds out truths about herself. And it reveals a lot about who she is and her own secrets, her own demons. Number 10. Number 10 is The House of Broken Bricks by Fiona Williams. This is another type of family drama situation. We are going to be having multiple perspectives, which I love. I love multiple POVs. And essentially what it feels like is that there are things that this family is suppressing and avoiding. That they're getting through their day, they're living their lives, but there's something that they're not talking about, and something that they all need to heal from and be transformed from, or they're going through a moment of transformation and they have to go through some healing and acceptance to move on. So that's that. Very light on the description, but very interesting to me. So number 11 is Pride and Joy by Louisa Oname. And this is another family generational situation. We follow a Nigerian Canadian family across 3 generations. And one day, their matriarch, Mama Mary, passes away. And one of the aunts believes that she's coming back, that this is not the end for Mama Mary, that she is going to rise again. And then there is the daughter, I believe, of Mama Mary, who is like, I'm not trying to hear it. Like, she's gone. Can we just have the funeral? I'm trying to grieve. I don't know how to deal with this. And so we essentially go through the story of whether or not Mama Mary actually comes back and how these women learn to grieve loss and how they all differently reconcile with loss and death, and just how they cope together and separately. Number 12 is called For Such a Time as This by Shani Akila. And it is a debut novel, a collection of stories that focus on the lives of Black British Londoners. That's it. It centers around their stories of friendship, community, relationships, independence, romance, all that good stuff. Number 14 is called Brooklyn by Tracy Brown. I have never read a book by Tracy Brown. I'm not sure. Is she the same one who wrote a single Black female? I really want to read that one. I'm excited about this one. Wait, I just got chills. I just read what I wrote and I remember what I so we follow an unreliable main character. And her name is Brooklyn. And she's a hustler. She's a hustler baby. She is calculated, meticulous. She was raised by the best and the boldest, her parents. And she plays the game very well. One day she comes across another guy who is a major player in the drug game named Hassan. And they have a whirlwind of a romance. But eventually she does her thing and snatches the rug up under him and like vanishes. And over time her shenanigans end up catching up to her. And she has to face her killer. And then it says, she's stunned that justice comes from the least likely place. Very interesting. 14 is Dysfunction Junction by Robin W. Pearson. It is a Southern family drama centering around 3 women who get an unexpected phone call. This phone call forces them to confront their past. This is about sisterhood, forgiveness, and healing family trauma. Love it. Love it. Yes. Let's move on to number 15. Number 15 is The Bookshop Sisterhood by Michelle Lindo Rice. It feels like such a beautiful, wholesome book. I'm excited for this one. The Bookshop Sisterhood is going to be lit. It features 4 Black women best friends who are wanting to open a bookshop. That's it. And it's pretty much they're navigating their day-to-day struggles in their life and trying to open up a small business. And so they're managing their own relationships, their own friendship, and their own concerns for growing a new business. Number 16 is The Library Thief by Kunjenga Shenje. And we follow Florence, a young Jamaican woman who is thrown out by her father after some scandalous thing she did, which was probably not that scandalous, but she was thrown out by her father by some terrible thing that she did, and she stumbles across this this library called Rose Hall, and it's ran by this man called Lord Belfield. His wife, his late wife, has some significance that I'm not sure of, but she has some significance because one day Florence goes back to this library and to find it broken into. And you would think, it's a very historic, very rich, culturally rich, expensive library with a lot of expensive artifacts. And whoever broke into it didn't take any of those things. They actually just burned or tried to burn Lord Belfield's wife's diary. And there's some significance to this diary that ultimately has some connections to our main character, Florence. And she uncovers some things about herself and her life and who she is with this book, this diary. I don't know. Interesting? Maybe. All right, so moving on to number 17. The American Queen by Vanessa Miller. The American Queen, honey. And it's historical fiction. It takes place in 1869, a kingdom that has risen in the South. And Luella, our main girl, is the queen. Now, Luella's got a lot of turmoil. She's got a lot of hate and anger, and rightfully so. She's angry and upset because of her enslaver having sold her mom, and that same enslaver having hung her father. And so eventually she marries Reverend William, which I'm assuming he has some prestige, because she asks him to free the slaves. No more of this slavery nonsense. Free them slaves, okay? And he's like, okay. And she's like, okay. And then it's all good. And then they are king and queen, and they lead a life of hope and goodness in a fight for freedom for all. Next one, number 18, is The Queen of Sugar Hill by Rashonda Tate Billingsley. I love Rashonda Tate Billingsley. I read her a lot in high school, and I stopped. For some reason, I just stopped picking up her books. I don't know what happened, but this one is going to be a fictional portrayal of Hattie McDaniel, who is the first Black person to win an Oscar for her performance as Mammy in Gone with the Wind. And it's going to center her life, center the things that she experienced when winning this, before winning it, and afterwards. That kind of in between worlds of, like, the white people saw her as only a mammy after that. Like, she's just a mammy. And then the Black people were like, hold on, this is offensive, and this is, like, demeaning, and this is setting us back type energy. And so she's battling between that, and, she's got her friendships, her relationships, love, sex, drama, a life, a woman's life. Number 19 is A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. This is the one romance that I have on my anticipated reads list, and it's because I read 7 Days in June, and I loved the way she wrote. It got me. It convinced me for a moment that I loved romance. But I'm excited just because I read that one, and I think this one's going to be really good. We follow a woman named Ricky, who is essentially the black sheep of the family. She doesn't quite fit in and can't quite compete with other siblings and doesn't really want to. But she is eventually granted the opportunity to move out and move to Harlem and pursue her dreams of opening a flower shop, which is so cute. And in opening that flower shop and doing her thing, she inevitably runs into and meets a stranger that changes her whole wide world and enters a whirlwind of a romance. So I'm excited about it. I can't lie. Number 20, we're getting up there. You Get What You Pay For by Morgan Parker. It's a collection of essays, so I think we're stepping a little bit more into the nonfiction realm. That highlights that highlights racial consciousness and its effects on mental well-being in America today. What really got me interested is she's like, I did a lot of therapy in adulthood. I did a lot of therapy, and I think that she's going to be pulling from some of that experience. She's also taking moments in history, like big moments of from the slave trade, that foundational trauma of the slave trade, all the way to analyzing the success of Serena Williams, to analyzing Hurricane Katrina as it relates to mental health, to well-being. Number 21 is called We Refuse, A Forceful History of Black Resistance. I'm excited about this one too. I'm excited about all of them, but some are more interesting to me than others. It's by Kelly Carter Jackson. Excuse me, I got excited. She is a historian. She's taking a deep dive in the way resistance has shown up in the Black community and different ways we practice resistance. Living in joy is practicing resistance. Having that quiet strength is practicing resistance. Rest is resistance. Number 22 is going to be Do the Work, A Guide to Understanding Power and Creating Change by Megan Pillow and Roxane Gay. This is going to be a workbook that encourages the importance of working on ourselves, checking our biases at the door, I said that, and the choices we act upon in order to be better at using our own voices to support those around us. Number 23, we're getting to the end, y'all. It's about to be 2024. Y'all ready? Are y'all ready for 2024? Are y'all ready? I don't know if I'm ready, but it's happening. So here we go. Okay, number 23, Women Who Work Too Much by Tamu Thomas. Break free from toxic productivity and find your joy. Yes, I'm excited about this. I preach this. I talk about this all the time. So it offers ways for women to escape the trap of toxic productivity, build boundaries, avoid burnout, and live with joy. Learning how to say no. And breaking the notion that in order to be our best selves, we should be doing more. It helps you stop overcommitting and move into a feeling of safety so you can thrive, prosper, and flourish. I love that idea so much. Especially with this whole hustle culture and gotta get it all the time, and all the time gotta get it. Number 24 is Weird Black Girls, Me, by Elwyn Cotman. And it's a short fiction collection. And it says it's 7 speculative tales that provide a fantastical spin on the real stresses of Black life. So cool. And the cover is sick, y'all. And it's giving weird. And I get it. I love it. So that's Weird Black Girls. That is all 24 books I have recommended and suggest for the new year. I don't know a lot about all of them, so I'm not going to say I suggest them, but I'm just going to say that they're anticipated, and feel free to add them to your TBR, pre-order them. Thank y'all so much for being here, for continuing to be so kind and so supportive. I will see y'all tomorrow. I have another video that I'm gonna post on Friday. So it's Thursday when you're seeing this. So happy Thursday. I hope y'all had a great week, and I gotta do it. Give this video a like, y'all. Like this video, like the last video, like the video before that video. Not only does it make my heart so happy, it also shows the algorithm that I'm doing a good job. So it'll recommend me to more like-minded, wonderful people just like you. So Thank y'all so much. I will see y'all in the Friday video. Have a great day. Bye. Mwah.